Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're digging into a huge question that pretty much every modern organization is facing. Should you stick with the classic, tried-and-true ways of analyzing data, or is it really time to jump into the world of AI?
So let's get right into it, with the question that everyone from HR to the C-suite is wrestling with. When you're trying to turn a mountain of data into a smart decision, which tool do you reach for? Is it the familiar comfort of a spreadsheet, or the kind of futuristic power you get from an AI model?
And look, this isn't just some far-off theoretical debate. A whopping 78% of companies around the globe are already using AI in one way or another. So yeah, figuring out the real difference between these two paths isn't just interesting, it's absolutely essential right now.
All right, so here's how we're going to break it all down for you. We'll start by looking at this crossroads we're all at. Then we'll get into what we mean by the classic approach versus the AI approach. We'll put them head to head, and then, and this is the important part, we'll give you a framework to help you figure out the best path forward for your team.
Okay, let's kick things off with the path most of us know like the back of our hand: traditional analytics. The best way to think about this is like having a trusted, reliable paper map.
What this really is at its heart is the classic human in the driver's seat approach. You know the tools, spreadsheets, business intelligence dashboards. It's all about sifting through data from the past to answer two really basic but important questions. What happened, and why did it happen?
And you know there's a reason this approach has stuck around for so long. It's got some real strengths. Just like a good map, the results are pretty easy to follow and explain to someone. The methods are proven, so it's super reliable for your standard reports. Plus, you don't need a huge budget or a team of specialists to get started.
But, and this is a big but, that trusted map definitely has its limits. It's so manual, which means it can be incredibly slow. It also chokes on the kind of messy, unstructured data that's everywhere today. You know, stuff like social media posts or customer reviews. And maybe the biggest drawback, it's all about the past. It's fantastic for telling you the route you already took, but it can't really warn you about the traffic jam up ahead.
So, that brings us to the other path: AI-powered analytics. If the old way is a static paper map, think of this new way as a smart GPS that's constantly updating.
This is where the game totally changes. AI uses things like machine learning to go hunting for patterns all by itself, and then uses those patterns to predict what's coming. It completely shifts the conversation from what happened to what's happening right now, and even more powerfully, what's probably going to happen next.
And this is where that smart GPS idea really comes to life. It gives you insights in real time, not in a report from last month. It finds these deep, hidden connections in the data that let you be proactive instead of reactive. And it can scale up to look at millions of data points, something no human could ever do. It's just efficient.
But it's not a silver bullet. You've heard the saying, garbage in, garbage out, and with AI, that's truer than ever. Bad data will absolutely give you bad predictions. You also need the right people and the right tech to make it work, which can be a heavy lift. And then there's the black box problem, where the AI gives you an answer, but it's not always easy to see exactly how it got there. That can be a real hurdle for trust.
All right, time for the main event. Let's put these two approaches right next to each other. When you see them head to head, the differences become so clear.
First up, the kind of data they can even work with. Traditional tools, they need neat, organized data. Think spreadsheets, rows, columns. But AI, it can eat pretty much anything for breakfast. It can analyze those same spreadsheets, sure, but it can also understand customer emails, social media feeds, even video clips.
Now this one is a huge deal: speed. Traditional analytics is kind of like developing film. There's always a delay. By the time you get the insights, that moment is already in the past. AI, on the other hand, is like a live video stream. It tells you what's going on as it's going on. And this might be the most important difference of all. It's about how you find the insights. With the old tools, you need a human analyst to do all the digging, to ask all the right questions. But with AI, the system itself can proactively find these game-changing connections, patterns a person might never ever think to look for. So when you pull it all together in a table like this, the picture becomes crystal clear. You can see the massive shift in every single area. We're going from describing the past to predicting the future. We're going from only using clean, structured data to using all data. And we're moving from a slow, manual process to one that's automated, instant, and always learning.
Okay, so we've seen the theory. What does this actually mean for you and your team? Let's walk through a simple, practical framework to help you figure out the right move. Finding your way forward really just comes down to asking a few smart questions. We're going to break down exactly what you need to think about, from what your business actually needs to the kinds of resources you have on hand. First things first, what are you actually trying to do? I mean, if your main goal is just reliable, standard reporting, think quarterly sales figures, then honestly, traditional tools might be all you need. But if you need to do things like predict which customers are about to leave or optimize your marketing spend on the fly, well, that's a huge flashing sign pointing straight to AI.
Next up, you got to look at your data itself. Is it mostly clean, stable, and fits nicely into tables? The old tools can handle that just fine. But if you're drowning in what people call big data, massive volumes of messy, fast-moving, varied information, that kind of complexity is basically screaming for an AI solution.
And last but not least, let's be real about what you've got to work with. Getting an AI system up and running isn't free. It takes a certain budget, and it takes people with special skills, like data scientists. Do you have that team in-house already, or is that something you'd need to go out and build? Okay, so this brings us to what I think is the biggest takeaway of this entire explainer. This whole debate, it's not really about picking one winner. It's about being smarter than that.
And this quote right here just nails it. The smartest strategy for most organizations is going to be a hybrid one. You use your trusted map, your traditional analytics, for that steady, reliable reporting, and then you bring in the smart GPS, the AI, for the high-stakes stuff, like forecasting or finding hidden opportunities. It's about making your team smarter, not replacing them.
So we're going to leave you with this question to chew on. Take a hard look at how your organization uses data today. Is your strategy all about charting the past, or is it built to help you predict the future? Because by blending that trusted map with a smart GPS, you can build an analytics approach that doesn't just report on your success, it actually drives it.